My question is this. The current administration is consciously leaving the border wide open. What's your theory for why they might be doing that?
It's a very, so the border is open. How could anybody do that? Why would they do it? So I say there are two answers. They're either, I don't believe it's voting because they cheat in the elections without having to go through it. Why do they have to do that? They cheat without, they don't need all these people coming in that are going to be robbing your houses in many cases, okay? And worse than that. So there are two questions. They're either stupid or they hate our country. And we know they're not stupid because anybody that can cheat that much on elections cannot be stupid. They're not stupid. They're radical left maniacs. And I believe they actually hate our country. I really do. I believe that. Okay? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
President Trump, we have a gentleman here.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
President Trump, you have been phenomenal in your support for first responders and law and order. And in the last boat parade before the 2019 election, we put a barge in it with fire trucks and cop cars. That's a barge. And in the front of that barge, we had a 6-foot by 30-foot banner of you saluting first responders. At the bottom, it said, "Thank you, President Trump, for having our backs."
That's right.
So we would like you to autograph that banner if possible.
I'll do that.
Can we bring it by tomorrow morning?
Sure. You bring it by.
Thank you, President Trump.
You bring it by.
Sergeant Denny on your side.
I remember that. Thank you.
Mr. President, we have a question from a younger in the audience.
Hello, Mr. President.
I love that shirt. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
He's got a shirt. Trump won.
After you become the 47th president, what are you going to do to stop the war in Ukraine?
So I would literally start calling, not from the day I took over, but from the night I won. And I called two people. You know who the two people are? Putin, right? You know who Putin is? And Zelensky. And I'd say, we're gonna meet. We're gonna meet. And I guarantee I can work that out. I guarantee. I know exactly what I'd say, by the way. I know exactly. I tell one guy this, and I tell one guy that, and I say, you better make a deal. We would have a deal made in 24 hours.
President Trump, on this side, back to this side of the room.
Hello, President Trump.
Hi.
I am Rebecca Harari, the president of the America First Club here.
Right, that's right. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. My question to you is, since you've left office, there has been an alarming rise of anti-Semitism all across America. When you come back to office, how will you address this?
Well, we'll get it stopped. As you know, they're after the radical right now, and it's very unfair. They don't do anything with Antifa. And if you look at Antifa, and Antifa to the Jewish population, not good. BLM, not good. But they're after radical right people, and in many cases, these are people that love our country like nobody loves our country, and we'll handle that situation. You know, we did something that I think was greatly helpful to Israel, many things. But one of the things was the Abraham Accords. Nobody thought that was possible. And that would have been, those 4 countries, that would have been completed by now. And got a lot of credit for it. But we also did Jerusalem, as you know, the capital. We made Jerusalem the capital. We not only assigned the embassy to be there, but we built the embassy for a slightly lower price. It was supposed to cost $2 billion. They got it done for $500,000. Is that good? We saved almost $2 billion. And we got it built, and there's no reason to ever replace it. It's really good, and a lot of other things we did, you know. So, but I appreciate that question, and I see that myself. I think it's terrible, but we'll take care of it very quickly. Thank you very much. Good job you're doing, Chris.
Sergeant Denny.
Mr. President, I think we have a campaign question here.
First of all, I want to tell you that I love you, and the Hispanics love you. President Trump, I love you.
And I love the Hispanics. Inflation. It's a lot. It's much more expensive now for mom to go out and buy whatever she's buying. Without exception, by the way, without exception. So it started off with energy, but the energy morphed into everything. And we'll get that down very quickly. You know, when we get energy down, everything else is going to come down too. So we're going to get it down. very, very quickly. And it's a very good question. Thank you, Darrell.
Sergeant Denny. Yes, we have a question, Mr. President.
Oh, Joe.
Hello, Mr. President. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us.
Thank you.
We all love you.
Thank you.
We have a problem with all the three-letter agencies in Washington, the CIA, the FBI.
So do I.
What is your plan to, I hate to put it this way, but burn them down and start all over again?
They've gotten out of control. They have weaponization in some forms and other things. They have really gotten out of control. And the only thing that can change that are the people. And we did a lot of work, and we were really getting down to a point that nobody could believe how well we were doing in that regard. But we're going to have to do something about it. We're going to make changes and big changes, and that change has to start from the top. Some agencies are just stone cold. Now, they've gotten a lot of courage because they've been encouraged by the radical left Democrats. I mean, many of these people are, I don't even know if it's Biden, to be honest with you, but many of these people are just stone cold left, crazy Marxist, communist people. And it's sort of like the border. Who wants to have an open border? Then you say, who wants to have a CIA like this? And who wants? And I have to say, when I was working with the CIA, we took out more terrorists than any other president. We were knocking them out left and right, and I really had a very good relationship with the CIA. They did a good job, but they certainly seem to be out of control right now. And the other ones too. And we'll make the changes that have to be made. It was very interesting. When I first became president, I didn't really know anybody in Washington. And I was a New York person. I rarely went to Washington. I think they said that I went to Washington 17 times during the course of my life, and I never stayed over. So, I wasn't a Washington establishment person. And I had to rely on some people to give me advice as to who put in. Now, I have to say, you don't read about them, you don't hear about them. So many different people. Bob Lighthouse, and we had so many great people. But we also had some people that weren't the greatest that I wouldn't put in, that are rhinos, or bad rhinos as opposed to good rhinos. Some Republican in name onlys are pretty good people, and they're not my kind of people generally. But we had some great people, but we also had people that I would have never chosen. Now that I've done this and done it intensely, I would say probably more intense than anybody's ever been president, right? And by the way, every time our poll numbers go up, and they're going up like a rocket ship, every time, and again, because they do it so poorly on the other side, and they saw what we did, but every time our poll numbers go up, those agencies that we talked about get meaner, crazier, and they want to use that to try and win political battles, and you just can't do it. But I will say that I know the people of Washington right now better than almost anybody, and I know the great ones who will do the job, who won't be a coward as Attorney General, because we had a couple of Attorney Generals that didn't have courage, let's say. I mean, Bill Barr was going to be impeached. They said they're going to impeach him. I said, impeach him for what? I said, I got impeached twice and my numbers went up, so maybe it's okay. But he said, I don't want to be impeached. I don't want to be impeached. And they lose their character, they lose their strength. We can't have that. We need brave patriots, and I know the people. I now know that establishment, because nobody has lived in Washington like I've lived in Washington, that's for sure. Okay, let's go.
'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.